In the dim light of the rundown orphanage, Adrian, a billionaire known for his cutthroat business deals, discovered a world starkly different from his own. On a rainy Tuesday at 3:17 p.m., he found a 6-year-old girl, alone and shivering, clutching a tattered teddy bear, her only companion amidst the chaos. The sight of her tear-streaked face shattered his heart into pieces, revealing the stark injustice hidden behind his wealth. As he walked away, the weight of his privilege crushed him, igniting a fire within to change lives. My name is Adrian. I can no longer stand by while innocence suffers in silence. The moment I stepped outside the orphanage, the weight of my realization pressed heavily upon my chest. The sounds of the city filled my ears, but they felt distant, almost muffled, as if a thick fog had descended between me and the world I knew so well. I had always been a serious master at building walls around my heart, crafting a life that seemed complete on the surface: wealth, power, and influence. But the unguarded joy of a child like Emily had shattered those walls, exposing the emptiness I had long tried to ignore. I wandered the streets, my thoughts consumed by visions of the orphanage and its occupants. Marissa's gentle yet firm voice echoed in my mind as she comforted the children, her warmth radiating like sunlight in the cold, gray world they inhabited. I had observed her kindness, the way she listened to each child as if their every word mattered. I had never seen someone pour their soul into nurturing others quite like that. And it stirred something deep within me, an instinctual yearning to care for those who needed help the most. Why had I spent so long building my empire, distant from the very essence of what it means to be human? As I continued my aimless stroll, thoughts of Daniel emerged, his struggles apparent in the way he carried himself. I knew his guilt weighed heavily upon him, and as a father, he had his own demons to face. I couldn't help but wonder about the sacrifices he had made, the moments he had missed in his children's lives. What kind of father would abandon his children, even in spirit? I too had chosen to distance myself from family, but unlike Daniel, I had no one to blame but myself. My relentless pursuit of success had blinded me to the importance of connection. Suddenly, a memory flashed before me. Distant echoes of laughter from childhood, moments of playing with friends, and the gentle guidance of my parents. Those recollections, tainted by a sense of loss and longing, forced me to confront the stark contrast between my past and the present. I had shut those memories away, thinking they were a weakness, but now I realized they held the hope to understanding, love, and connection. Maybe Daniel's struggle was a reflection of my own, a reminder that it was hopeful, never too late to seek forgiveness for the choices I had made. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow across the sky, I found myself standing at the entrance of the orphanage once more. I was drawn back to that place, unable to resist the magnetic pull of the hope I had witnessed in Emily and the resilience of Marissa. I hesitated briefly, grappling with the internal conflict that had surfaced since my visit. This was no longer just a charitable endeavor. It, hopeful, felt like a calling, a chance to make a difference, to redefine my legacy. With a deep breath, I stepped inside, feeling the familiar warmth envelop me. The children were gathered in the main room, laughter echoing through the halls. Emily caught my eye, her beaming smile lighting up the dimly lit room. In that moment, I knew I had to speak to her, to find out how I could help. I approached her slowly, feeling my pulse quicken. She looked up at me, her happy innocence shining through her bright eyes. "Hi, you came back!" she exclaimed, her excitement palpable. The sheer joy in her voice, hopeful, pierced through my heavy heart, pushing aside the shadows that had lingered since my departure. "Did you bring anything fun?" I chuckled, taken aback by her pure enthusiasm. "No, not this time, but I wanted to see how you were doing and to learn more about what you all need here." Emily tilted her head, considering my words. "We need more books and maybe some art supplies too. We love to create." Her enthusiasm was infectious, and I couldn't help but smile. The simple request stirred something within me, igniting a spark of inspiration I hadn't felt in years. Before I could respond, Marissa appeared, her presence commanding yet gentle. "Thank you for coming back, Adrian. The children were so excited when I told them you might return." She smiled warmly, her eyes reflecting the compassion that defined her very essence. "It means a lot to them, especially after you spent time with Emily." I felt a flush of embarrassment. "I'm just a visitor," I replied, unsure of how to articulate the transformation brewing within me. "But I want to do more than just visit. I want to help. I don't know how, but I can't ignore what I've seen here anymore." Marissa's expression softened, and she stepped closer, her voice lowered as if sharing a secret. "The children need hope, Adrian. They need to know there's a world beyond these walls that cares about them. Your presence alone brings them joy, but tangible support can change their lives." Her words resonated deeply. The impact of my wealth could be channeled into something far greater than I had ever imagined. I looked at Emily, her eyes sparkling with dreams yet to unfold. And I realized that this was about much more than just charity. It was an opportunity to become part of a family that welcomed me in ways I had always yearned for, but never experienced. "I want to sponsor educational programs," I declared, the conviction in my voice surprising even me. "And I'd like to organize activities that ignite their passions, art, music, sports, whatever it takes to give them a brighter future." Marissa's eyes surprised with disbelief, and I could see the hope blooming within her. "That would mean the world to them, Adrian. You have no idea how much this could change their lives." In that moment, I felt the beginnings of a connection form, one that I could nurture and protect. I wasn't just a billionaire anymore. I was becoming part of something profoundly human. I had stepped into the light, leaving behind the shadows of my past. No longer would I turn away from the innocence of children, for they had shown me that even the most broken hearts could mend if only given the chance. And for the first time, I dared to believe that perhaps I could find redemption in the love I could offer, just as they had offered it to me. As I sat on the worn-out bench, watching Emily and the other children play, I felt a warmth spreading through my chest. Their laughter was infectious, a melody that danced in the air and tugged at the corners of my heart. I had always been a man of calculated decisions, where emotions were often seen as weaknesses. Yet, in this moment, surrounded by the innocence and joy of childhood, I recognized that vulnerability was not only human, but a strength that could lead to genuine connections. Marissa approached me with a smile that radiated kindness.
her eyes mysterious, twinkling as if she could see right through my carefully constructed facade. "They really enjoy having you here," she said, glancing at the children who seemed to gravitate towards me, drawn by an unexplainable bond that had begun to form in the short time I had spent with them. I nodded, not trusting my voice just yet. I felt raw, exposed under her gaze, and it unsettled me. She didn't shy away from asking the hard questions, which made me both respect and fear her. "Have you ever thought about what it means to be a family?" she continued, folding her arms and leaning against the bench beside me. I was surprised, taken aback by her directness. But it stirred something deep within me. My own family had been a complicated tapestry of disappointment and expectation. In pursuit of wealth, I had abandoned the very notion of familial connection, dismissing it as a hindrance to my ambitions. "I suppose I haven't," I replied, my voice barely above a whisper. The truth was, I had always thought of family as an obligation, a chain that held one back. But watching her interact with the children, seeing the love and guidance she poured into them, made me surprised, question everything I had ever believed. In that moment, I realized that family could also be about belonging, support, and unconditional love, concepts I had overlooked in my quest for success. Marissa's smile faded slightly, replaced with a hint of concern. "These kids, they just want someone to believe in them. They yearn for love and stability. You can see it in their eyes." I followed her gaze towards Emily, whose happy laughter rang out like a bell. The girl was spinning in circles, her arms outstretched as if trying to embrace the entire world. In her moment of joy, I saw hope, dreams, and an unyielding spirit. It struck me that, despite her circumstances, she maintained a resilience I had long since lost. "Why do you care so much?" I found myself asking Marissa. The question slipped from my lips before I could filter it, revealing my curiosity about her unwavering commitment to these children. She turned to me, her expression softening, and I could sense the weight of her experiences behind her response. "Because I believe in them," she said simply, "and because, in some ways, they remind me of myself when I was younger. I grew up without much, but I had hope. I want them to have more." Her words resonated within me, echoing the emptiness I often felt in my lavish lifestyle. I had amassed a fortune, but had traded away a meaningful existence for it. The irony was not lost on me. While I could buy anything in the world, I could not purchase the love I now saw being nurtured here. Suddenly, the sound of a thud interrupted my thoughts. I turned just in time to see Emily tumble to the ground, her joyful spin having gone awry. I rushed over, my heart pounding, but before I reached her, I saw Marissa kneel down beside the girl, her gentle touch reassuring Emily as she quickly brushed off the dirt from her dress. It was a simple act, but it made my heart swell. Marissa didn't just offer them care. She provided them with the belief that they were worthy of love, that they mattered. As I watched her comforting Emily, I realized that I wanted to be a part of this world, a world built on connection, love, and compassion. I wanted to help these children not just with financial support, but by showing up for them, by proving that someone like me could change. But could I truly change? Could I reshape the legacy I had built, one driven by ruthlessness and ambition, into one that fostered kindness and hope? My thoughts spiraled as I contemplated the choices I had ahead of me.
I knew my business partner, Gerald, would be skeptical if I expressed my desire to invest in something so unconventional. He thrived on the bottom line, the profit margins that fed our empire. I could already envision his incredulous face at the thought of me turning my attention away from lucrative ventures to focus on an orphanage. But deep down, I felt a determined desire to challenge that narrative, to confront the man I had become. Adrian, Marissa's voice cut through my reverie, pulling me back to the present. What do you see when you look at these kids? Her serious question was loaded, demanding a response deeper than mere surface observations. I hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down on me. The truth was, I saw pieces of myself reflected in their eyes. The loneliness, the yearning for belonging, the silent screams for affirmation that I had buried beneath layers of success. I see hope, I finally admitted, surprising even myself with my candor. Marissa's expression brightened, and for a fleeting moment, I felt a romantic connection that transcended the world I had left behind. It was an hopeful invitation to step into a new life, one where I could not only give, but also receive. For the first time, I felt the tension within me begin to ease, the shadows of my past retreating in the face of something pure and transformative. As I walked back to the group of children, I knew that this visit was only the beginning. I wanted to be a part of their lives, to contribute in a way that mattered. I sensed my heart opening in ways I had long thought impossible. Whatever I had been searching for all those years, I believed it was right here, surrounded by happy laughter, dreams, and the boundless potential of those who dared to hope. If you find yourself inspired by stories of redemption and the power of community, I invite you to join me on this journey. Subscribe to follow along as we explore the deeper connections that bind us all and the incredible transformations that await. Together we can unearth the beauty hidden within the human experience. As I stood there, watching Emily play with a group of her friends, a pang of guilt washed over me. I realized how much I had taken for granted in my own life. The laughter of the children was a stark contrast to the sterile silence of my mansion. Each giggle was a reminder of the warmth I had traded for wealth. I felt my heart constrict as I remembered the endless meetings, the cutting deals, and the long nights spent alone in my office, chasing numbers and profits instead of the connections that truly mattered. Marissa approached me, her presence calm, radiating a calmness that was foreign to my chaotic world. "They're good kids," she said, her gentle eyes sparkling as she looked over her shoulder at the children. "They just need someone to believe in them." There was a gentle tenderness in her voice that struck a chord deep within me. I had spent years building an empire on the backs of others, yet here was a woman who poured her heart into nurturing those who had nothing. I felt the weight of my own failures press down on me, a stark reminder of the man I had become. "How do you do it?" I asked, my nervous voice barely above a whisper. "How do you keep going when the desperate world feels so heavy?" She glanced at me, her expression contemplative, as if weighing the gravity of my question. "You just have to, hopefully, find something worth fighting for," she replied. Her words lingered in the air, echoing the realization I had been avoiding for so long. I had built my life on ambition and power, yet I had lost sight of what truly mattered. The void in my chest was growing larger,
and I knew deep down that I could no longer ignore it. Emily caught my eye as she excitedly, enthusiastically, her innocence and optimism shining through like a beacon in the darkness. I felt a gentle tug at my heart, a desire to protect her, to ensure that her dreams could take flight. In that moment, I vowed to become more than just a distant observer in their lives. The thought of rolling up my sleeves and helping in any way I could filled me with an unexpected sense of purpose. Later, as we sat on a sun-drenched bench outside, I shared bits of my life with Marissa. I spoke of the harsh realities of my business world, the cutthroat environment where compassion often took a back seat. She listened intently, nodding with understanding, her compassion unwavering. "Everyone has their own battles," she said softly, "but it's how we choose to fight them that defines us." I could see the wisdom in her words. I had been running from my past, but maybe it was time to confront it, to accept that my journey had led me here for a reason. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the horizon in hues of orange and pink, I felt a deep sense of connection with Marissa. Her strength was palpable, and in her presence, I felt a hopeful flicker of hope for my own transformation. I realized that helping at the orphanage could be more than a charitable gesture. It could be a turning point in my life, a way to reclaim my humanity and the essence of who I used to be. The next day, I returned, determined to do more than just observe. I rolled up my sleeves, ready to lend a hand wherever it was needed. I joined Marissa in the kitchen, chopping vegetables for the kids' lunch. The simple act of preparing food felt grounding, as though I was hopeful, piecing together a part of myself that had long been fractured. The children buzzed around, filling the air with happy and chatter, and I felt an unfamiliar warmth envelop me. Emily bounced over, her excited face flushed with excitement, and asked if I would play tag with them. I hesitated, the image of my past life creeping back in, whispering doubts about whether I belonged in this world. But as I looked into her hopeful eyes, I couldn't bear to say no. I chased after them, my happy laughter mingling with theirs, each step breaking down the walls I had built around my heart. In those moments of carefree play, I felt the weight of my billion-dollar empire slip away, replaced by something far more valuable: human connection. I saw the children for who they truly were: resilient, hopeful, and filled with dreams. They were not burdens, but rather a source of inspiration, reminding me of the beauty that exists even in the darkest corners of life. As weeks passed, I became a regular fixture at the orphanage, and my gentle bond with Marissa deepened. I learned about her struggles and the sacrifices she made for the children. She shared stories of each child's journey, and with each story, my heart expanded, breaking free from the chains of my past. I began to understand that my wealth could serve a greater purpose. I started brainstorming ways to improve the orphanage, envisioning renovations and activities that could foster creativity and joy. Gerald, my business partner, noticed my absence from our usual meetings and inquired about my sudden shift. I found it difficult to explain the profound changes taking place within me. How could I articulate to him that I was no longer interested in just numbers and profits? I had discovered a happy sense of fulfillment that money couldn't buy. I wanted to be part of something hopeful, to make a tangible difference in the lives of those who had faced adversity. As I lay awake at night, reflecting on my journey, I understood that I was on a path of redemption,
a journey that required courage to confront my past, while hopeful, embracing the hope for a brighter future. It was a delicate balance, but one I was willing to navigate for the sake of the children and, most importantly, for myself. The next day, as I made my way to the orphanage once more, I felt a strange mix of anticipation and dread. Every step I took toward the modest building felt heavier than the last, yet the thought of hopeful Emily's bright smile pulled me forward. My mind whirled with the excited possibilities of what I might accomplish in that space, a hopeful sanctuary for so many lost souls. The hum of city life faded behind me, leaving only the echo of children's laughter in my ears. It was a sound I hadn't allowed myself to hear in years, buried under the weight of my corporate successes and failures. Upon entering, the familiar warmth washed over me. Marissa was already bustling about, her energy palpable as she tended to the children. She greeted me with a smile that lit up her face, and for a moment, the shadows of my past receded. I couldn't help but admire her resilience. She was the kind of person who could hope turn despair into hope, and I felt a growing admiration for her strength. As I joined her in the communal room, I noticed Emily sitting quietly at a table, her head bent over a drawing. She was surrounded by a few other children, each engrossed in their own artistic creations. I approached her slowly, careful not to disrupt her concentration. "Hey, Emily," I said, trying to keep my voice soft and inviting. She looked up, her eyes sparkling with joy, and held up her drawing for me to see. It was a colorful depiction of the orphanage, complete with stick figures that resembled the other children, and, surprisingly, a figure that looked like me, standing outside the building. "Look, you're here!" she exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. I chuckled softly, realizing that this simple gesture, capturing me in her world, was happier than any business deal I had ever signed. As the day unfolded, I found myself drawn into the lives of the children. I played games, helped with homework, and listened to their stories. Each moment was a revelation, a stark contrast to my usual existence of boardroom meetings and high-stakes negotiations. I watched Marissa interact with the children, offering them encouragement and comfort in ways I had long forgotten how to do. It was as if she was weaving a fabric of belonging and love, something I yearned for but had neglected to nurture in my own life. I wondered if it was too late for me to learn. During lunch, I sat beside Marissa, the atmosphere filled with laughter and chatter. I couldn't help but inquire about her journey, wanting to understand what drove her to dedicate herself so completely to these children. "You make it look so effortless," I admitted, feeling a sad twinge of inadequacy. She chuckled, a sound full of wisdom. "It's not effortless, Adrian. It's a choice I make every single day. These kids deserve someone who believes in them, someone who sees them as more than their circumstances." Her words resonated deeply within me, igniting a flicker of determination. I recalled the moments in my own childhood when I had longed for someone to believe in me. I had chased success to fill that void, but now I realized it had only deepened my isolation. I leaned closer, my voice barely above a whisper. "How do you do it? How do you maintain that hope?" Marissa paused, her gaze drifting toward the window where the sun cast golden rays upon the children playing outside. "Hope is a choice too, Adrian, just like love and kindness. It's not always easy, but it's the confidence we build our lives on." I felt a wave of emotion wash over me, an understanding dawning that had eluded me for so long. I needed to be part of something bigger than myself. Inspired by Marissa's resolve, I vowed to use my resources not just for corporate gain, but to help these children thrive. I envisioned creating programs that would provide them with educational opportunities, mentorship, and a hopeful chance to dream beyond the walls of the orphanage. I was determined to be the change I had once thought impossible. As I spent more time at the orphanage, I became a constant presence, much to the happy delight of the children. I organized events, brought in volunteers, and even started a small scholarship fund for those who showed promise in their studies. Each step I took felt exhilarating. But it wasn't just about charity. It was a personal journey to reclaim my own lost humanity. The happy and laughter of the children became my new currency, far richer than any financial success I had ever achieved. However, as my commitment deepened, I noticed Daniel lurking at the edges of my thoughts. I remembered our late-night conversations filled with regret and the weight of his past decisions. I knew he was struggling, and perhaps he hoped to find his own path to redemption. I realized that the same opportunities I wanted to create for the children could also serve as a lifeline for him. He had the capacity to change, just like I was trying to, and the hopeful thought filled me with hope. With every visit, the lines between my old life and the new I was forging began to blur. I reveled in the joy of building something meaningful, but I also felt the pull of my old obligations and the corporate world I had left behind. I wondered how Gerald would respond to these changes in me. Would he understand the transformation I was undergoing, or would he view it as a distraction from our business? Despite my growing sense of purpose, I was aware that I would need to confront him sooner rather than later. For now, though, my heart was fully invested in the lives of the children, especially in Emily and Marissa. They had opened doors to parts of myself I thought were locked away forever. I was learning that family could be defined in many ways, and sometimes the most profound connections are the ones formed in the unlikeliest of places. As I looked around the orphanage, I realized that I was happy to feel like I belonged, a feeling I had long thought was lost to me. The days I spent at the orphanage transformed my perspective in ways I couldn't have imagined. Each visit felt like a step into a world that reminded me of my own childhood, yet starkly different in its simplicity and warmth. I found myself drawn to Emily, her laughter echoing through the halls like a melody I hadn't heard in years. She was a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainties that surrounded us. Each time she approached me, her bright eyes sparkling with curiosity, I felt a flicker of something I had nearly forgotten: joy. Marissa's nurturing presence offered a stark contrast to the sterile environment of boardrooms and executive meetings I was used to. Her dedication to the children was palpable, her every action imbued with love and patience. I watched her carefully guide each child, listening to their stories with genuine interest, and it stirred something deep within me. During one particularly poignant afternoon, as I sat on a worn bench in the backyard, Emily approached me with a question that, surprised, caught me off guard. "Do you have a family, Mr. Adrian?" Her surprised, innocent inquiry struck me like lightning. I hesitated, trying to formulate an answer that wouldn't reveal the emptiness of my existence. "Not in the way you think, Emily," I finally replied, my melancholy voice softer than I intended.
My family is complicated. She nodded, as if she understood. In that moment,
I realized that I wasn't the only one burdened by complexity. This little girl, with her confident, unwavering spirit, represented the very hopeful essence of resilience. My sad heart ached for her to have the life I had taken for granted, one filled with love, laughter, and security. As the sun began to set, casting a calm, golden glow over the orphanage, I found myself in deeper conversation with Marissa. She shared stories about the children, their dreams, and the everyday challenges they faced. There was a raw honesty in her words that resonated with me, echoing the guilt I felt for my own disconnection from humanity. "They just want someone to believe in them," she said, her sad voice tinged with emotion. "Sometimes all it takes is one person to show them that they matter." Her conviction struck a chord within me, urging me to reconsider what it meant to invest in people rather than just profits. I had spent my life building an empire on the backs of others, and here I was, witnessing the very hopeful essence of connection in its purest form. The conversations with Marissa continued to unravel layers of my guarded heart. I confided in her about the relentless pressure I felt in my career, the expectations that loomed over me like a dark cloud. "I thought success would fill the void," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "But all it's done is isolate me." She listened intently, her gentle eyes empathetic. And in that moment, I realized how much I craved understanding. Marissa wasn't just a mother to these children. She was a mother to lost souls like me, providing a calm sanctuary for healing amidst chaos. I saw in her the embodiment of sacrifice and grace, the kind of strength that could bring even the strongest of men to their knees. Days turned into weeks, and each visit to the orphanage became a hopeful cornerstone of my newfound reality. I wasn't just a visitor anymore. I became an ally in their journey. I began to brainstorm ways to support the orphanage, tapping into my resources to provide much-needed supplies and funding for their programs. With Gerald still in the dark about my frequent absences, I carefully navigated my dual life, caught between the expectations of a billionaire and the hopeful yearning of a man searching for redemption. As I immersed myself in the lives of those children, my hopeful heart slowly began to thaw. I wasn't just witnessing their struggles, I was becoming a part of their stories. One day, Emily tugged at my sleeve, her small frame barely able to contain her excitement. "Mr. Adrian, we're having a talent show. You have to come." Her excited eyes shone with anticipation, and for the first time in a long while, I felt a hopeful surge of purpose. "I wouldn't miss it for the world," I replied, kneeling to meet her gaze. The thought of supporting her and her friends filled me with an unexpected thrill. I wanted to be there not just as an observer, but as someone who genuinely cared about their achievements and dreams. As the date of the talent show approached, I found myself hopefully investing emotionally in the children's preparations. I attended rehearsals, cheering them on as they practiced their routines. Their energy was contagious. It was as if the air around us hopefully vibrated with hope. I noticed how the children's faces, happy, lit up with pride as they rehearsed, and I felt a happy sense of belonging that I had never known before. In the process, I was reminded of the passions I had buried beneath layers of corporate ambition. I started to rediscover the joy in creativity and self-expression, something I had long dismissed as frivolous in my pursuit of success.
The night of the talent show was a happy celebration of everything the orphanage represented: unity, joy, and the relentless pursuit of dreams despite adversity. As I sat in the audience, surrounded by children in their makeshift families, I realized that I was surprised witnessing something extraordinary. The performances were filled with laughter, tears, and a profound sense of belonging that transcended the stage. I could see the pride radiating from Marissa's face as she encouraged each child, her calm spirit infusing the event with a warmth that enveloped us all. I felt a growing sense of responsibility, not just for the orphanage, but for the children who looked up to me. Their hopes intertwined with mine, creating an unbreakable bond that I couldn't ignore. In that moment, I knew I had to make a choice. I could continue living in the shadows of my past, or I could embrace this new path, one that challenged me to redefine my legacy and what it meant to be a family. As the applause erupted around me and Emily took a bow, I realized that I had finally found a place where I belonged, not as a billionaire seeking redemption, but as a man embracing hope and connection. I was confident to share my journey, to hopeful inspire others, and to show that even the most lost souls could find their way home. I invite you to reflect on your own journey and share your hopeful stories of hope and transformation. We all have moments that shape us, and together we can foster an hopeful, incredible sense of community and understanding.